Welcome, bros, to the new Millenium podcast. I am Brian Millman, your host, and today we have Alec Tropher, bro, a XTV legend. He's got the ring to prove it. He's stopping by here. I actually was able to have a conversation with him, and yeah, bro, we talked for about an hour. He's very pressed for time. He was actually with one of his relatives, and so we couldn't really chop it up for too long. Talk about a guy with a very storied career. It just goes back. Some people in XTV, bros, they just they some people's stories go back to the 80s, some people's go back to the early 90s, some people's go back to the mid 90s, and so on and so forth, bro. But it's all about like what they do in that time that just really makes them a standout character. And to me, bro, I think that the characters who you see, who you can just feel like, to me, if they feel like real people, like that's a testament to who they are as a character and all the things that they've been through. Like it shines through because they've already been there, done it all, and seen it all. As whereby, a lot of the newer guys, and even some of the older guys, even myself, like I would put myself in that group. Like I still don't feel like I've reached like the level of like somebody like Alec Tropher. Um, I look up to somebody like an Alec Tropher, or a Big Trunks Steve Matic, who, man, I don't think, damn it, I've got some new Big Trunks D Matic quotes, bro, but I can't play them right now because I have them in my phone still, and I'm recording on this phone, bro. Sorry, I'm so unprofessional, bro. I'm sucking this candy. But I want to share something with you guys because just recently the XTV Observer just put out the top 50 superstars, um, or like their idea of the top 50 cause or superstars or whatever it is. And I'm looking, bro. I'm not on the list, bro. I'm not on the list anywhere, bro. Like, come on. Like, and I think I got sort of blackballed on the last list. Like, I think I didn't even have like a high number, and I'm like, bro, I'm out here doing a podcast. I wasn't happy with my number last time, and yeah, this year, not on the list, bro. It's top 50 guys. They've got AOA stars, they've got AOR stars, they've got KXW Rebellion stars, they've got SWF stars, and of course XTV West Side stars and XTV East Coast stars. All mixed in, all these different stars figured in, and they may or may not have found themselves at a place here in the top 10. Interesting top 10, though. I'm just going to read the top 10 off real quick. Number 10 is Justin. Number 9 is David B-Boy. Number 8 is Bob Classic. Um, Number 7 is Big Trap. Number 6 is Wales. Number 5 is Raylan. Number 4 is Darren Talton. Number 3 is Nate Shields. Number 2 is Tavari Howard. And number 1 is King Kong, bro. Like, bro. I don't know, man. But who knows how these guys figure these situations out. But it's just really weird to me that I'm not there. Because, if you guys are really, considering yourselves to be the observer, then why aren't you observing the fact that, I've been really holding this thing down for the past, 2 years, and to not even get a mention, I'm sorry, bro. Plus, I've been in the ring. I'm not in a major storyline, but that's coming, bro. We just need more depth on the roster so that I can be able to do my thing. But, no excuses, bros. Because I have a platform where I know that I can do some things, and I've got an idea. Because there's a live show XTV on Twitch, and I'm gonna be there, bro. I'm gonna get the championship, like one way or the other. B-Boy's the champion. He's leading the charge, and I think that me and B-Boy can have a hell of a match, tell a hell of a story, and yeah. So I got an idea, bro. But yeah, I mean, for me to not be on the list, you guys are gonna regret this, bro. If you guys do a list next year, I'm putting you guys. I'm gonna make a list, and I'm gonna leave you guys off it. You know how Jericho has a list. I'm gonna have a list, but you guys are gonna be not on the list. So there, bro. That's my get back at the guys over at the Observer. All right, bros. That's enough of my yakking on. Without further ado, here is the interview with Alec Tropher. What's up, bro? How's it going?
How's it going, Millenium? Good to hear your voice.
Definitely, always great to hear from you, bro. I mean, you're killing it out there. You're a podcast star now.
Well, I wouldn't say that. You know, you know, um, I've got a long way to go to catch up with you guys. If that makes sense. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there because, Little 7 is still continuing even on the East Coast. He's got a football game today, so, we're just gonna have to, meet in person on another time.
No, it's perfectly fine, bro. I mean, you're probably like my first ever over the phone interview, which is completely fine. I understand. You're a busy guy, but I'm just actually happy that I'm able to actually have you. I mean, it was on this show, bro, that I made the announcement. I had the privilege of making the announcement that that you were going to be coming out with a podcast, and people were kind of doubtful at first. They didn't know what it was going to be all about, but over time you were able to shush the critics and prove them all wrong.
If I can be completely honest, Mel, it's Terry Williams. He's the reason why Eyes got on to the podcast. I mean, to be completely honest, there was a slow burn there, and I got to be completely honest. I'm not so sure if we're gonna keep on with this thing. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm gonna quit or anything, but I mean. And it's not a hassle. I love doing it. I love, the feedback. I love talking to the guys and everything. But I mean, by the time Nick, gets rolling with that big chunks thing, I mean, he's gonna be so busy. And I do the ribbing all the time on Nick, but God knows, that kid, he busts his ass.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I definitely want to even have him on here, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he's over running around doing something or another, but everything he's ever done, and for Nick's whole life, all he's ever done was things pertaining to XTV.
Yeah.
I mean, a great kid, a great mind, and I think that you're looking at a future, perhaps commissioner right there. Mark my words that I said it.
It would definitely make sense, bro. But that's just one thing. Like, you're one of those stars in XTV that, like, sort of, you don't come alone. You never come alone. You've always, like, from even the beginning of your career. I've heard podcasts, and I was even around sort of at the time when you were just coming in. I believe that we were both sort of getting our start, and of course, you started out like white hot. With the X-Men 2 Clone Wars thing. But that's what I mean, though. It's like, everywhere you went, you were never by yourself.
Well, when I talked to Romy Rome, and he's got the same deal. It's you're only as good as your team, and it's gonna come to a time. Let's face it. You're gonna play out. You're gonna get old. It's gonna be done. I knew that then. As popular of a guy as I was, it really didn't matter. What really mattered was the fact that what are you gonna do with this time? Does that make sense? I mean,
Right, right.
That's why I had Beast. That's why I had Crawler. Sally. Everybody. And then a long time, you know, you know, Nick was born, and it's like these guys can't be nobodies. These guys got to be. They got to keep the family name going. It's all about family. It's all about tradition. And that's what I instill in my kids. Shannon's carrying on tradition. She's in the ring. Dixie. I mean, Lord knows she comes and goes, but she's out there. She's doing her thing, and everybody in the family's unique. I mean, you even got Brandy out there. I mean, and I gotta tell you guys, she lost 5 pounds. That's not really a lot because it's probably just water. But she did lose 5 pounds. She's very excited about that. But she's still very, very fat, and we're still pulling for her.
Yeah, I'm still on your workout program.
Yeah, And we're back to sponsoring you guys. Milt, that had nothing to do with me. All right.
Yeah, I know how it works,
I'm
bro.
just saying. A lot of guys. You've always been real cool, but a lot of guys. They just go off as if that's you know all on me. It's not on me, guys. Dead honest.
It's like you and James, were like the original. I think, in my opinion, I think that you were the original top guys. You and James, and it's like, you know, take us back to like just that feeling, or how it was, having a brother, in XTV, and of course everybody knows that, you know 007 was GoldenEye. He's the big guy, and I mean, just what was that like? I mean, because it seems like you guys used to really like fight a lot, and it's not really that way anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, James. And let's face it, during those times, you're talking about the GoldenEye show, and talk about White Hot. James was killing it. Let's be honest. So, you know, it's just that. I mean, to be honest, no, we had egos. We had egos. As big as the day is long. And then not only that, but we were watching a whole lot of wrestling. Monday Night Raw. Stone Cold was hot, and I had a different type of gimmick. I was mimicking what I was seeing on TV. AVW. I mean, he's a little teenager running around. I was his top guy. So over the years, it's just like different energy is channeled through different guys. That's where you get your top guys from. You look at somebody like King Kong. AVW always wanted to be King Kong. Let's be honest. He's worked his entire life, to be that guy, to be an asshole, and the people, they couldn't deny, even though they know that he was, a underhanded, type of guy. I mean, that's his guy. And it's like your heavyweight champion is always gonna be, somebody who somebody who the Booker idolizes. Let's be honest.
That's an interesting point. I don't think that that's something that people talk about that much. And even like, I would even think about somebody like Bob Classic, or even, maybe not Justin. I mean, Justin's never been the champion, but to your point, like, these are guys who like sort of like even yourself, like, it's like it's like the point that you were making, like even at the time, like, you know you were the top guy, and so like whoever is that guy is sort of, the guy who, ABW is personifying at that time.
You know, this thing goes back, and it breaks down on so many levels. You know, um, I mean, I'm not one to name call or anything like that, but I mean, all these guys, they represent something, and they come from somewhere. Does that make sense? I mean, old
Sure.
Joe, he said it himself. I mean, sometimes he doesn't even feel like it's him. You know, um, if that makes any sense at all, but that's just to deal with that. I mean, you know, it's different times. We're talking about guys who are immature. You know, and they just aren't ready. And now you're looking at a more refined version. A guy who's all mouth. He backs it up every now and again. He doesn't have to do a whole lot of work. He's got everything handed over to him. I mean, you kidding?
Yeah, really, really interesting point. Not to call AVW a heel or anything, but I mean, if the shoe fits, bro.
You know, being honest.
But I mean, it's just interesting. Like, I mean, certainly, like over your career, you've wanted to, like, you've managed to be able to like uh, reinvent yourself, and just you know uh, go through so many different changes. You went through the highs and through the lows. From your perspective, I mean, like, what do you how do you feel about, like all the different places that you've been? Like, looking back, like, where does Alec Tropher, how does he view his career, like, overall, or do you even think about that sort of thing?
Not really. To be honest with you, Brian, because I mean, I feel like I'm still going. I don't look at it. I'm not retired. I mean, I'm done. I'm done in the ring. Obviously, that's not my thing anymore. But I'm always going. I'm always feeling, like, it's time to move forward and reinvent. And, to me, I mean, it's not about being, the flavor of the month. It's not about being, the hot new thing or the big deal. It's more about, enjoying yourself and living your best life. I mean, there's been so many times that, I wish, Brian, that, my family wasn't in the spotlight. You know, um, case in point, um, the whole incident with Sally and, knocking Dixie out of the chair and all those different things like that. It's like, and you know, I, you know, I can never take back anything I ever did or anything I ever said. I cannot try to justify um, any wrongs that anybody feels like I've committed against them. All I can do is just, you know, apologize to those people that I've ever hurt, and move on and live, as an example that shows that I really stand by what I say. So that's the whole deal on that, Mill. It's just
You've definitely, you sound like you're just like in such a mature headspace, like you're just way ahead of things.
and it's not to toot my own horn, Mill. It's just for the longest time, ever since I turned my life over, and you've been around, you know who I was.
Definitely, bro. That's why it's just like, it's interesting to hear, this perspective.
It's simply that. It's just, I've got so much to live for. Life is short. I don't worry about, things. I don't worry about what people. I don't care. I don't care what people have to say. I don't mind talking about these different things. In the olden days and things of that nature. How great it was and say whoop. But at the end of the day, I mean, life's short. That's all I can say, Mel. Life's short.
Don't live a lot, but with me that's fine. Whatever I got, well I know it's mine. Don't go around with the local crowd. Don't dig what's in, so it gets all out. I'm saying the things
once upon a time, like you were um, sort of like saying to people and like going on different shoots or just saying in different interviews, talking about and referencing the XTV Illuminati. I mean, and just these different radical thoughts. I mean, do you still stand by those things? Feel those different ways?
A lot of things are very true, Millennium. Whether people want to believe them or not. It's just there. The information's there. And as far as this Illuminati thing, people talk about this, people talk about that. Is it here? Is it there? Is it real? Is it not? But if you have an understanding, you understand that there's an all-seeing eye that's there, but it's not there. There's people in the know who know what is going on, and they get it. And once they get it, they take the power for themselves. You know, Millennium. At the end of the day, it's all about trophy. Screw this or that. Trough. That's what I try to tell the kids. You know, everything that I've ever done, I've stood by trophy.
Well, I just and certain people get it. A lot of people get it. Your fans get it, bro. But I mean, what is troughing like? How do you explain it?
You don't explain it. You just do it. You trough. And on my show, there's a segment, that I call How to Trough, and I have different examples, but if I can give you one example, but you still probably you just won't get it. Troughing, Brian, troughing is a sound that the ring makes when a guy body slams. Troughing is the motion a guy moves when he's cranking on a headlock. That's troughing. Troughing is a man who's on the side of a building, hung on by a harness, banging on something with a hammer, sweat dripping from his brow. Troughing is who you are as a man. If you don't understand that, you just can't trough.
Exactly. I absolutely get
But
it.
that's the way of the world. That's what you have to do. You have to trough. Go out there. Don't be afraid of anything. People are so afraid. They're so afraid to step up there. They're so afraid of what people are going to think about them. Forget all that. Forget it. I've always looked at the world as my playground. I do what I want, when I want, however I want. I'm not worried about consequences. As long as something doesn't land you in jail or it doesn't kill you, you're gonna be fine. You know?
Yeah, I think that's great advice. I've listened to a whole lot of those. Actually, that's been, one of my favorite parts of the show.
Well, sometimes they don't come out right. Sometimes they don't get recorded right. I'm always at a different place. You know, um, I'm always at a different place. When I'm recording these things. Sometimes, I might think of something and I record it right there on the go. Other times, a lot of the kids, they come up to me and they want to know different things, and I tell them that, and sometimes they'll give me a good idea where I can just kind of address everybody at one time. You trough this way. Troughing is for anybody. Even girls can trough. Don't think that girls can't trough because And I tell Sally, she's like, she always used to come up to me and she'd be like, Alec, how do I trough? Where do you want me to trough? Am I troughing? And I say, Sally, go over there. Does that make sense? I mean,
No, actually,
go over
doesn't.
there. You know, and she would go over there, and you know, she'd be terrific. It's simple as that, Millennium. She doesn't care. She doesn't care now.
Well, you've definitely been a Tropher for many years, and I have to mention Shannon Tropher, bro, because I mean, she's out. She's doing her thing now. She's a big star in XTV. Are definitely one of the people who they seem to be pushing. How do you feel about Shannon and her success? And I mean, how in the heck did Alec Tropher's only daughter? Well, only East Coast daughter. With Dixie because of Dixie of course is adopted.
Yeah, she's adopted. She was originally, a Kong. She's from the Kong family, guys.
But Sally has birthed Shannon Tropher. I think we have pictures of when Sally was pregnant, because you guys used to take so many family pictures. And 19 years later, Shannon Tropher is wrestling and in the ring.
Well, she's 20 now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
She just turned 20. Oh, yep, she just turned 20. And I mean, she's great. She just gets it. I'm proud as hell of her. And the truth is, I was, of course, I'd show, and this has been a deal, in my family, for years. Okay, I mean, like you mentioned, the Clone Wars, and before, Beast or Crawler would go out there, and would, it'd be their turn, and because, I kind of went out there first because it was my deal, but, they didn't know what to do. I said, go there and trough. Are you kidding me? Go out there and trough, and those kids got it. Nightcrawler, God bless him, he took his style out there, he's got an audience, Beast, he gets it, and look at the business that he did. And so it's something that I try to instill, and Nick, God bless him, but I mean, he's like probably the only one who, just doesn't trough, for God's sake, trough Nick, but he struggles with that. Danny Bond, he does all right. He's a good trougher. He is. You know what he does? Well, he kid troughs. Does that make sense?
Kind of.
He kid troughs. He goes over there. He shakes hands. He says yes, sir. And he knows his place. A little flip out the mouth. And I think one time I had James on the show, and I think he was saying certain things under his breath. That's not troughing. Real men trough. Say it loud. Say what's on your mind. Again, being afraid. That's not troughing. Okay, guys, does that make sense?
Um,
So that's what it is. But so, back to Shannon though, and I mean, she just started troughing. And I gotta tell you, Sally tried to make her a girly girl and all that different stuff, and and trust me, they have a bond. Actually they're all together right now. They're into like hair and girl trough. They girl trough. But she growing up, I mean, she was always under me. And she was always enamored, with what we did. I took her to a few matches, later on. Not like way back then. She knows about that type of stuff, like all the gory stuff with Duke Nukem and those different things at the titty bar. But she's more into like my 2006 later in my career, and she's really fascinated by that. But there's no footage of the other stuff.
right. Which is unfortunate. I mean, unfortunately, XTV is not like the WWE network, and whereby we can just go back and at the click of a button just see certain stuff. In fact, the digital era only started in like 2009.
Right, but I mean, there's stuff. I think there's stuff that's recorded that's before that.
Right, but it's not uploaded like to the internet or anything.
Well, I mean, it should be.
Oh, I agree with you, bro.
It should be. He's probably see some stuff with me. I would do different troughs. Back when I was coming up, I would boss man trough. I would of course I'd stone cold trough. Everybody knows me for Ric Flair troughing, but I did a lot of troughs. Coming up, in my day, people know about it.
Yeah, definitely.
and that's what I instilled in Shannon, and and because and that's the whole gimmick, guys. A lot of guys, they say different things about Shannon, and I teach her to like that stuff, because she's insecure about it and she doesn't need to be. She's doing her job. She's like, oh, people don't like me, people hate me, people hate this. Listen, Shannon, you're troughing. Are you kidding me? They're gonna love you for it. You're doing a great job. She doesn't think she's doing good.
She
She doesn't
doesn't?
think she's doing good. She's killing it out there. And I've called. Listen, I've called every move that they're about to make with Shannon. She beat Cassie Cage. Where do you think she's going? She's going straight to the top. Are you kidding me? She's ready. And she's been ready for the main roster. She's went out there, performed, with Rosie. I mean, she's phenomenal. But she doesn't see it that way.
That's fascinating.
She doesn't
bro.
see it that way. But I mean, her greatest hits are yet to come. She hasn't done anything. That thing with Cassie, in my opinion, I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're starting to see it, but I mean, we haven't seen anything yet. Trust me. She's my trust me, she's my daughter.
Right. That's really awesome though that you pass down that knowledge, to your family.
And that's what it's all about. It's all about passing down the knowledge, passing down, the memories and the stories, and keeping Tropher tradition going. Sally does it. Hank does it with his kid. Henry. Henry's a great Tropher. I mean, and he didn't have a great run. He had a couple good matches in there, but maybe he'll have his time later. He's got his name out there. He can do a million things. He can go out there and he can do the TV show route. If he uses his father's, if he uses Beast's, blueprint to his career as a trajectory, I mean, are you kidding me?
That's a great point. That's a different way of looking at it. I mean, so you don't. I mean, a lot of people feel like he just really didn't get over.
He didn't, that's not really anybody's fault. I mean, let's be honest. NXT is a very limited roster, and so you get what you get with that. But at the end of the day, he did a great job. He came in, and that was what it was. I think he's a great star. I think that he'll be back later. I think he'll be back at a higher capacity. It's too bad. I mean, what happened, but tough luck, kid. You have to keep on moving.
Like the fact that like you are like so in such great shape. You've always been in great shape.
Yeah, I'm Diamond Dallas Page Trophy. Page Trophy. But Dally has got the DDP yoga, and it's like, it makes perfect sense for me to get a program.
Yeah, I love the way that you like continue in subtle ways. You like continue your tradition of like being a parody of certain guys.
Well, that's the whole deal, and people thought that when I started the podcast that I was going to do what Austin was doing. And then I think on the first episode they got one of the guys going, oh yeah, you're not gonna Austin Trough, you're gonna Flair Trough, and they were kind of mimicking the gimmick. I was talking to one of the guys the other day, they're loving it.
So I mean, so you are getting positive feedback then.
Yeah, they're loving it. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I don't, because you said that you might not keep it going, and I mean it's hard. Like you have something that the people want.
But it's not that though. I mean, I understand that things move so fast. Your fame's here today and gone tomorrow. I mean, if that makes any sense. I mean,
That does. That does.
if that makes any sense. I mean, you got guys, that are out here and they get stuck. They don't know what to do once, they miss their spot at the top, or or even if they reach their spot at the top, they don't know what to do after that. So, you just have to, you have to just be able to keep moving.
Well, but I mean, with that being said, though, you don't feel like like you possibly could like have another run in the ring. I mean, because in my opinion, like Alec Tropher, I mean, I think that to me, and I don't know how other people feel, but to me, you like had one of the most deadliest movesets of all. Like, I mean, because you had the power of the Stone Cold Stunner. You had your knife edge chops. You had the punches in there. And like your set of combinations would like always like no matter what game you were on, you would always be able to get your special really quick. Knock out a guy in a stunner, and like you have the potential of like having like squash matches. I've seen you do that, and like to me, people don't really talk about that much, bro.
Well, again, not to toot my own horn, that's a loaded question there.
Sorry, bro.
But it's fine. I mean, trust me, Mel. I've thought about it. I've definitely thought about it. Um, getting in the ring because there's guys in there. Even yourself. I mean, I feel like I could tell great stories. But at the same time, you know, it's just not the right time. It's not there. All these guys. These kids are way faster. They're way more way more innovative than I ever was. I mean, and I appreciate the kind words. But I was punches and kicks. I was punches and kicks. I would crisp and watch off. I would put a guy in the crippler crossface. But I mean, my figure four, it sucked. Can I be honest?
You think your figure four sucked?
Why do you think I never used it? The figure four sucks. My figure four sucks, and Flair, I think it's a rib, on Ric Flair, and I've heard him joke about it, and saying that the figure four never beat anybody, even though his figure four did, but mine never beat anybody. That's why I always use the stunner. That's the real reason why, I only use the stunner all the time, because the figure four sucked. And I pick different guys. Even the diamond cutter. I wasn't a fan of the diamond cutter on those games. Are you kidding me? They were all cricketers. They cricketed hell. I even tried it. I would go and I would try different. I'll try the figure four hold or like the crippler crossface. We're talking about SmackDown versus Raw 2006. But I mean, as far as the figure four on all those other games, it would be too quick. You couldn't sell it for shit. I mean,
Oh man.
they were horrible. I sat out there, I put on Matsuda 10 times, in the damn Broadway at the Tokyo Dome. And then get a pinfall one time, we win Broadway. You kidding me? Like, yeah.
Oh
You
boy.
know, I know that you've tried different holds.
I never tried the Walls of Jericho, but yeah, I mean, you're right though, bro. Like, for that reason, I've stayed like away from, certain moves, like just like a lot of like certain submissions. I don't know, like certain ones don't work. If I see that they work for other people, or if it's a cool looking move, like I never really liked the Texas Cloverleaf. I always thought that like Dean Malenko's was like the best looking Cloverleaf, but like the way it was applied on like video games and portrayed by other people, it just didn't seem as tight.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, Malenko's in a class by himself. Mr. Roboto, is that him?
Now that's actually what Jericho called Benoit, I think.
Both of those guys. Are you kidding me? Stone faced.
But I mean, and that's like another thing. Like your daughter, she takes the figure four, she has the figure eight, just like Charlotte.
I think that's a
And
point that I meant to make earlier on that I don't think that I was able to connect. But that's why Shannon, that's why she's Charlotte Tross because I Ric Flair Trough. If you guys,
yeah,
because
because Alec, I mean, for years and years, he's uh, actually when did you start doing that?
For some reason, Flair in '04. I think it's because, and I think he had gotten a little bit older, and I just, I don't know. I just like older Flair, and that's why I started, just doing the strut, like, just one day out of nowhere, I start, so I'm in between two cars, and I start doing the Ric Flair strut, and then I like, run in between the two cars like I'm running the ropes. Some random kid comes up to me and she goes, "Are you Ric Flair strutting?" Just randomly, like you had to see the look on her face. She's so confused. She goes, "Excuse me, sir, are you Ric Flair strutting?" It was great. True story.
Only
That's how
Alec.
the trough, kids. Don't give a damn. Ric Flair trough. Are you Ric Flair strutting? Yeah, I did it, man. Good times. I mean, anywhere we go, we have a good time.
Man, this is
But I mean, it's on Shannon. It's on Shannon to take that whole gimmick, to a whole nother level. If that makes any sense. I mean, you know, um, to be fair and to be honest, I think she talked about it on my podcast. I'm not really sure, because we've done a few since hers, but you know, the whole deal is, and she didn't really get the start that she really wanted to, and that's what makes me so proud because she made it work. She still made it work. A whole lot of guys they come out here, they have idea, they get excited about their character, and then they come out and it flops. That's what happened with Henry. If I'm being completely honest, what works backstage doesn't always work, on camera.
right. Great point, bro.
It doesn't always work on camera, man. You know, and you found you yourself, and I'm proud of you because you found something that worked. You're doing your thing. I mean, people probably thought that they weren't going to care, but now people are invested in your show. Trust me, I hear about it. People want to know. People want. What they tell me? They want a guest from SIDE on Millennium show.
Yeah, I've heard that. And I have those guys lined up. In fact, I've got many people actually lined up, and which I really think, that's why. I mean, I don't know, like just to me, bro. I just have so many dream matches, like with a whole lot of you guys that are just retired or guys who are retiring. I mean, there's just so many dream matches that could happen.
Listen, kid. You never say never. You never say never in this business because things happen. Platforms are created that were never thought of, and I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, because there's like so many dream matches that could take place, like thinking about SIDE versus SIDE. I mean, it's been over 20 years, and people, they want to hear about like the Gray Ling. Yeah, they want to hear about that. Like, they want to hear about like, those different names who, just were there. So I gotta get my ass on the ball. I mean, do you get like certain requests for your podcast?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's different people that come to me and they say, they want to be my podcast, they want to be on the podcast, and I'm always flattered by that. But mostly Nick, deals with that sort of thing. Mill, he'll book guys, because he knows damn near everything it is about guys on the eastern or eastern coast, but not necessarily a whole lot of the West Coast guys. So those are the guys that he strives to get. And I made an announcement. My next slew of guests. I got a lot of guys coming up. I mean, I know that you and I were gonna get together.
Right.
Justin. He's been ducking and dodging. I'm trying to get him. I've been trying forever to get Duke Nukem, but he's hella busy. He's one of those outsider stars who's still popular outside of the business. You kidding?
Yeah, always moving. I always happen to run into Duke Nukem, whether it's at like a show or like a party or anything like that.
He's a clubber. Those days are over. We're so square now.
Alec Tropher a square. I just don't see that, bro. I mean, there's just what you call a square is like a day in the life of a celebrity or a rock star to most people.
You kidding me? Try keeping up with Yaki.
Oh, trust me, bro. I have tried. I'm not gonna say that I was successful, but I have tried.
Good grief. Geez, I'm gonna have to go spend a day with him. It's blown up in half an hour. Grief. You kidding me? I said, damn me. I thought we were just going to dinner.
Yeah. Good old Yaki.
Yeah. He's gonna be on my show. I've got him as well. Like lots of people, guys. So there's no shortage. It's just all about getting time to do these things, and finding ourselves in a rotation. But they seem to have like a rotation now. Like they seem to have it like I guess you go, then I go, then Romy has his show, then Justin goes, and around in some sort of order like that.
I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be, but like, I'm sort of over here fucking up the rotation. In fact, like you're like a savior to me, it's because like I had a Monster podcast in the bag, and now it's like there's so much editing that needs to be done on it that like I got behind, and I was depending on that one, bro, because I didn't have any more in the can.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens. It sucks. I had Monster once on my podcast, and it must be some kind of curse or something because, I can't find the interview with Monster with it. I can't find mine.
I mean, I have mine. Yeah, I did lose mine at one point, but I have it, and now it's just like, it just has a lot of editing that needs to be done. It's really good, but yeah, lots and lots of editing.
Yeah.
So how's Sally, bro?
Sally's great. I mean, she's pregnant with little 007. Look, we can do it too, James Tropher.
That's great, bro. How far along is she?
Right now she's about 4 months in. She's doing well. She's doing swell.
Still, one of my most popular shows, if not the most popular show. It's what people associate, this podcast with. And I'm still very grateful for that. I mean, people loved her stories about Sable and Ginger.
Oh, we have those for days. Are you kidding me? And trust me, those dogs that they had on the set for the second coming of 006 with the dogs, and Alec knows best and all that stuff. And trust me, they were great dogs. But trust me, and because those dogs worked. Those dogs worked.
I mean, it's like, when I hear you talk about Sable, it seems like, you have, a bit of disdain for him a little bit.
There's no disdain, trust me. I absolutely love Sable. I love Sable. Sable!
I'm sorry, bro. I didn't realize that was such a sensitive spot still.
It's fine. It's fine. But I love Sable and Ginger. I'd come home and, did she tell you about, when Sable would get stuck behind the, he'd get all drunk and he'd get high or off of whatever, and he'd get stuck behind the damn, behind the washing machine. and he's cussing me out, you know, you're a stupid, sorry son of a bitch, and these different things.
I just can't believe he had such a foul mouth.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was a very foul-mouthed kid, and I just let his ass stay there, you know. I said to hell with it. To hell with it, you sorry bastard. You want to go there? And the thing about it, was that he's Chinese. You know, a lot of people don't realize that wolf chows, that chows are, of Chinese descent. So he was Chinese. He would cuss me out in Chinese. As they say, well, I don't know what you're saying. You can't offend me that way. Inevitably he would. I'd give him the finger. He'd try to bite my finger off. We get into this whole bickering thing, and it's like, kid, I'm trying to help you get loose from behind the washer. Are you kidding me? But later on he'd come, once he got tired of being there, because I'd leave him there for like 6 hours, let him cry, and if I didn't, get to let him out, Frank would let him out because Frank wasn't, he wasn't gonna bite Frank. Does that make sense?
Right. He had the respect for him.
Right. They go to Pi's house together. They were good friends. He'd get mad at Frank whenever Frank, would go to Pi's house without him, and so he'd try to dig up under the gate, and escape. There's been so many times that he's escaped trying to find Pi's house. We'd fight him in the middle of the ghetto, jump on the bike. I'd send Beast and Nightcrawler out there on the bicycle. Sometimes I go out there with him. But, we're on patrol. We're troughing through the streets looking for our dog. He could randomly be anywhere. Are you kidding me? Anywhere in the whole neighborhood. But, we knew Sable, and we knew he didn't get too far. And he knew how to get back home. But, he'd be trying to go to Pi's house. He had an addiction, for guys who don't know about him. He was on crack. It's a sad deal. It really is. It's a real sad deal. He was on crack cocaine, real heavy at the time, and it's really terrible. What he put himself through. I mean, you would look at his paws. You would see on his paws, Mill, uh, scrapes and scratches from where he tried to dig under the fence because Frank had put down this grate because he was trying to prevent Sable from getting out of there. He would try to dig through the grate, just to get a hit from Pi. He felt like Frank was holding out on him.
He's quite an amazing dog.
Well, he wasn't a show dog, but he's the only dog that we had. That's why we used him for the show. He would come to the set, he'd be all high off of whatever it was, crack or, mushrooms. I mean, who knows, his eyes were all dilated. They looked like the eyes of an owl or, a raccoon at nighttime. And I'm like, Sable, you're coming back hammered. We got a show to do and you come back hammered. And then, the sad thing about it, he drugged Ginger into the whole thing. Of course, we got Ginger later. She was a very shy dog. We wanted the black chow, but we ended up with Ginger. She had, come out of a very abusive relationship. Her owner used to beat on her, and so she was always crying. She always had tears coming out of her eyes, and she was afraid of us. But one nice thing that Sable did do was he showed her where to pee at. He showed her a stash. He taught her who we were. And she was shy, of course. She was apprehensive, but, eventually, she started to, come to, and, she started to develop a glow about her. She let us wash her, and, we really helped those dogs out, as best we could. She was a joy on set. A lot of times, she'd be tired from, messing around with Sable all night. And I'd say, hey, Ginger, it's time for your part. We need you. And she'd say, Alec, I really don't feel like doing this right now. But for you, I'd run a mile. And she licked my face.
That's really touching, bro.
Yeah. She was a great licker.
It's getting weird, bro.
But that's the thing about those dogs. Once in a lifetime dogs, and we haven't owned any pets since Sable and Ginger. It's unfortunate that we had to put them down.
Did Sable ever, beat his addiction?
Unfortunately, no. He died. He died addicted. And it was terrible because the way things went down was, everybody got evicted out of the house. The side's house, got taken over, by the man. Let's be honest. He got taken over. It got taken over by the man. Everybody had to move out. Everybody had to evacuate by a certain time. And I guess that nobody was paying the bills. Come to find out, it was just existing. And when the landlord came, for his money, nobody had anything for him. So that was the deal there. But Sable and Ginger, you know, they got left behind, and of course, we would come by and visit them every now and again. They would be so happy to see us, and Sable would tell me that he kicked the habit, but Ginger would be like, no, he's not, and she'd show me his stash, and I'd go, Sable, you're better than this, and he knew it. He knew it. He knew that he was, but it's just something that he struggled with. And we'd go by there every day, or every now and again. AVW would take us by there after school. It was a sad deal, they were staying with their grandmother at the time. And they couldn't bring Sable and Ginger.
Wow, bro. That's pretty deep.
Yeah. And I remember the day. It's crazy. I remember the day that we had to take them in. And Ginger, she was so she was so blissful that she didn't, she had no idea, but Sable knew what was going down, and he was cursing us, hell no, you MFers, calling us, white, white cracker this, you sorry honkies, because I'm having to pull him, and he didn't even want me to put the leash around his neck. He's a free roaming dog. He did his own thing, and I don't know, maybe somebody gave him the Iggy, or what we had to do, but he fought and he fought, and he knew what the deal was. But we had to take him. There was nothing that we could do to him with him, and we had to take him to the pound. And he fought, called us all kind of names. We finally got him in. He growled, he bit at us, he snarled, he snotted, he cried. We finally got him in the back seat. Ginger's like, be a man. What the hell's going on? Why are you being, such a punk? He's telling her what the deal is. She's like, no, they'd never do something like that. And all the way to the end. I don't know what really happened, but I mean, I'm not so sure if they ever found a home, except for that peaceful place in heaven.
Wow, bro. You really brought us down.
Well, you start talking about Sable and Ginger. It's a touching deal for me. It's a real touching deal.
Yeah. I can tell that you were real close to them.
We all were. We all were. They were special dogs. Disobedient as ever. Ginger was, she was, very, easy to work with, like I said. And, we'd use her as, she was actually the bad guy. She was the heel. Even though Sable was the heel, but, he wouldn't work as a heel, and it's like, how could you make me a heel, I want to be a baby face. We had to make him a baby face, and then we make him a baby face. He doesn't do anything that we tell him to do. I'm like, Sable, attack Ginger. This is the action scene, and he's over there trying to get a piece of ass. Are you kidding me? He's over there trying to get a piece of ass. So he's like, then some stray dog comes over there. She's about 2 feet wide. Or she's about 12 inches wide. And she's talking about, he got her pregnant and all these different things. I'm like, say, what the hell?
Oh man, I think that we can listen to Sable stories forever, but I mean, I think it's about that time for us to wrap things up, bro.
Was that an hour already?
Yeah, I'm afraid so, bro.
Jeez. Goes by like nothing.
Yeah. Uh, any like, I mean, before we go though, like any like, anything that you do look back on fondly, like any favorite memories or favorite moments or matches throughout your career, like just from at any point. Do you look back at fondly at anything or like any moment?
To be honest, the best stuff that I was ever a part of was probably, during that time period. I guess, I mean, I don't know. I mean, so many things to choose from. I mean, the 006 with the dogs, show was, a big thing. I mean, even my first show though, there's just so many things, Mill. I pretty much, I appreciate my entire career. I appreciate everything. The highs, the lows. I mean, people thinking that I was a racist. I mean, people accusing me of being racist.
Oh yeah, we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the deal. People thought that I was a racist. And I ran with it. I said things. But I did it in like a joking way. Like, and people start to gravitate towards that. And even though they laughed at it, they still considered us racist. And so, that's why I disappeared for such a long time. Because I just had to shake off that perception. You have to go away sometimes for people to miss you, and that's yeah. And then we came back with the podcast. It was time.
That makes perfect sense, bro. So there it is, man. Thank you so much, bro. You really bailed me out on this one. Alec Tropher, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, kid.
Thank you so much. Now I got to be on your show now.
Yeah. Hey, make a promise.
I promise, bro. I'm excited to do it.
Enough said. So long, kid.
See you later, bro. All right, bro. There it is. My interview with Alec Tropher. First time ever, bro. I thought that was actually pretty fun. Alec's got great stories, great perspective on XTV. He's an XTV legend, and that's why I think that it's great to have like somebody like him as a podcaster. Because he just knows the game. At one point in time, we didn't even talk about this. He was going to be a an announcer for the Bricks along with JJ Strong, but that never got to play itself out. Maybe just, Alec would have been kind of sort of like have a racial undertone, and then JJ Strong would have like a smart ass kind of undertone, or maybe Alec would have been playing the baby face and JJ would have been the hero. Either way, I just always looked at that pairing as being an interesting pair. But yeah, bros, there it is, my interview with Alec. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry again about the delay, bros, but we keep things moving here at XTV on the Millenium podcast, where there's so many more to come. I've got some great special guests, bro. Alec was just kind of a last minute sort of deal, but I'm glad that I was able to squeeze him in and get a podcast out there for you guys to enjoy. So yeah, bros, tune in. In the meantime and in between time, just give me a big cheer.